here, and this is Killer Kyle, and welcome to Wheels of Fury. Hey, me and Matt here, and this is Killer Kyle, and this is Wheels of Fury, and today is a special episode. Yeah, of course, yesterday was the 20th anniversary, but what the hell, we're going to talk about it today. It's the 20th anniversary year, I guess, since the passing of one OWEN HART, and it was a very dark time in WWE. Obviously, there was a lot of backlash with the company, and surprisingly, how it didn't shut down after the whole incident, I guess.
The thing about it is, over the years, WWE has had some really cool entrances in pay-per-views. You look at WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels ziplining to the ring, and you have Undertaker rising from the depths of hell, or Triple H, WrestleMania 31, doing like a whole Terminator entrance, and various other things like that. And Owen had this gimmick where he portrayed a superhero of sorts called the Blue Blazer.
Yes.
And for this one particular event, they decided, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have it look like he's flying, if you will, and just descend from the rafters or from a high point in the arena down to the ring and be in the ring and have his match and whatever, which was fine. And I do believe it was rehearsed beforehand, like I'm sure a lot of dangerous things were, and I'm sure still are today. Maybe not as much as they were back then, but definitely they're practiced and all safety measures are taken and what have you. Now, a lot of safety measures were taken to do this stunt, if you will, properly, and it was just one of those things where the simplest little thing happened, and I no longer have Owen with us.
And I think one of the biggest problems that I think we're all trying to wrap ourselves around is how could this have happened? Because Owen didn't want to do the stunt. He was afraid of heights. He didn't want to do it. He debated on it. And he did it anyways. Now they said, okay, Vince McMahon is gonna do it first, so you can see how safe it is. Along the way, something happened. Somebody got a hold of the safety equipment. I don't know what happened. Maybe Owen freaked out. I'm not sure, but what happened, and it's just a damn shame that
Yeah,
things
it
happen
is.
like that. I mean, when I had the build up to Godfather versus the Blue Blazer
Mhm.
for the Intercontinental Championship, when we knew at this point that Owen Hart was the Blue Blazer,
Yeah.
it would have been interesting to see the Intercontinental Championship change hands come over the edge. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
You know, with Owen Hart being afraid of heights and being very apprehensive to do the stunt, I'm sure Vince and maybe the safety team and whatever told Owen, like, hey man, we know you're afraid of heights, we know you're apprehensive about it, but we got a really good team here that will make sure you're safe, make sure you're hooked up properly, make sure that nothing goes wrong, and you have a smooth descent, and you'll go down to the ring and, have your match, and it will be great. Now, the one thing about it you could say is that I believe what it was is they were going to have him come down like this, just up here, and then come down to the ring, and then unhook the clamp from the wiring, and then, take off the harness and have his match. But when you're like this, laying down, so to speak, you've got no choice but to look down. You're facing down.
Yeah.
It would be freaky. I know Matt's not really that fond of heights.
Not at all.
And, well, Owen was kind of in Matt's position, not really a fond of heights, and so that's probably why he was really apprehensive about doing it. Now, I'm not exactly sure what they said to convince Owen to finally do the descent like he was going to. Like, I don't know the full story behind it. I just know what I've been told, and what I believe to be the truth is when they hooked up Owen to do the descent, he was full getup, mask, outfit, cape, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And they put the harness on him, and then, hooked him up, and, had either put the cape on over top or had the cape on over top. And it was, he adjusted the cape to, like, if you watch matches of the Blue Blazer when he came to the ring, he looked kind of like Hulk Hogan 1979, I think. We had the full length gold cape looking thing. Well, that's pretty much what Owen had when he was doing the Blue Blazer. And so they had him hooked up, he was clamped in, and he was just adjusting the cape to where it would be like around him or whatever, and that loosened up the clamp, and nobody checked to make sure everything was still snug, secure, all this other stuff. And then when it came time for him to start his descent, he steps up onto a platform, whatever, and then starts his descent, And at this point, all his body weight, 235, 240 pounds, is hanging on a clamp that's not fully secured. And as he's descending, clamp gave way, he dropped like a rock, and well, the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, man. You know, it just really, it's a shame. And the fact that we waited a long time to get coverage of Owen's videos
Yeah.
and Owen's matches, because I could understand that his widow was very upset.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that, you know, you really want to see the company and all this other stuff. I don't believe that it was Vincent McMahon's fault.
No.
I believe that Owen had a job to do. He did it. He didn't want to do it. We all have shit that we don't want to do. But the bottom line is that it was just a freak accident.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I've been blaming Vince Russo for a long time, thinking it was him that told the people to fix everything. You know, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, obviously.
Yeah.
But the fact is that we were robbed, basically. You know, myself not being one of the biggest Owen Hart fans. In fact, I was a Bret Hart fan. Still am to a certain extent now, but Owen was one of the best heels in the company.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at what he did when he won the King of the Ring. He had Anvil with him, and Anvil was like his right-hand man, and he was just a down and dirty, rotten scoundrel, if you will.
Mm.
And even when you go back to when he was feuding with Bret, and the whole Bret injured his knee, and he wouldn't make the tag to Owen, and Owen got fed up and kicked him in the knee, and all this other stuff. And you know, he is the King of the Hearts, and he's the Black Heart, and all this other stuff. He made for a very good heel.
Well, just don't forget that he was never a Nugget.
True. I also believe, though, that when it came time for Owen to be funny, he could be funny as hell.
Oh god, yeah. In fact, you look at today's roster, and I've always said that the person who reminds me the most of Owen Hart is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I think he has that, I guess, phony way of being a heel, kind of. Like I really don't know how to put it, but I think that if Owen was alive today, and we'll get more in depth with that, but he would really enjoy being a part of the PG era, if you will.
I think so. And one of the things that I fondly remember hearing from the Attitude Era or in the past that knew Owen really well, and even some stories from Bret himself, is Owen loved pranking people. Yeah. He was always pranking people, always finding some way to get one over on somebody, rip somebody, if you will. And there was a story where they were in a hotel and he called, I can't remember who it was.
I think it was his dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was his dad.
He was a pizza guy, and he was pretending Stu ordered pizza. And he had to pay for it or something.
Yeah.
And Stu got really pissed off. But, of course, Owen wouldn't let up that it was him.
Yeah.
But...
And that's just the way Owen was. And as much as you either really liked Owen or didn't like Owen when you saw him on TV, when it came to behind the scenes, if you will, if you were having a bad day, I'm sure Owen would do whatever it took to turn things around and put you in a good mood and make you laugh, make you smile, whatever. That's just the kind of guy that I feel like Owen was.
Yeah. And yeah, that's just kind of, that's what says it all, basically. And he was a really good tag team wrestler.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, starting with Jim Neidhart and then going to Coco Beware, which apparently Coco didn't really want. But then, you know, going and having the singles wrestler and eventually having a few tag matches with Brett.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you jump to the British Bulldog and Yokozuna, which, because sad when you think about it, you don't have three of those anymore.
And those no longer with us. Yokozuna's gone. Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog's gone. Of course, Owen's gone.
Yeah. So, I mean, that sucks. But anyways, do you have any favorite matches? Or
I would say a match that really stands out for me as far as being a really good match, really technical, really had you invested in the match, and you just couldn't help but watch it, and you just got so captivated by it. It didn't matter who won or who lost. You got so into it by the end of it, you're like, wow, that was an amazing match. And of course, I believe that really helped put Owen over as a bad guy and really put over his opponent as working to be a face. But go back to Brett versus Owen, WrestleMania 10.
yeah. Yeah, and you know, I mean, back then I was all for Bret Hart, and just the two going back and forth at the Survivor Series, and then having them team at the Royal Rumble, and then, of course, that took off from there. You know, I think Owen definitely played it up as the spoiled brat, if you will. You know, I deserve my due and all this other stuff. I definitely agree with that. And I think that
I'm sick and tired of being in the shadow of my older brother, and it's time for me to step in on my own and do my own thing and be my own man and all this other stuff.
So, I think that Owen definitely played it up really well. And the match at WrestleMania was really good. And, you know, Owen won. I think that was a good match, but their match at SummerSlam really was. It really told a good story.
Yeah.
Two brothers that wrestled together in Stampede, and they got to know each other really well, and it was almost like they were having fun. And
Yeah.
you know, I think my biggest regret is not seeing Owen as the WWF champion.
Right, yeah.
You know, I think that if Vince McMahon played his cards right, you would have Yokozuna and Bret Hart. Bret Hart would win the belt and then lose the belt to Owen at SummerSlam. Somehow get it back at the Survivor Series. Unfortunately, this didn't happen, and you know, Bob Backlund ended up winning at the Survivor Series just to get it from Kevin Nash. So the thing that also bothers me, because if he had that one belt, he would have been the Grand Slam champion. But unfortunately, that never happened.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, you know, things happen for a reason, but the fact that we'll never see that again, it, you know. And I think the debate, too, of the show must go on. And some people are like, well, he died, he had the accident, they should have stopped the show right there. And you have people that are like, well, Yeah, but people paid their hard-earned money, and they should have kept the show going. And plus, the wrestlers really wanted to have the show.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what to say to that. Like, what do you think, personally?
It's one of those things where, like, they kept the show going, which I think was the right thing to do. If they had have stopped the show, people that were there in attendance that night and people that were watching it at home on pay-per-view would have been pissed. They would have been demanding their money back. They, it just would have been a big kerfuffle and a big issue, and people would have rioted maybe. Now, can you argue the fact that they should have stopped the show when they found out that Owen had died out of respect for him? Yes. But if you look at afterwards, that's when they had the tribute show for Owen and all this other stuff. So you can look at it like they should have stopped the show when the accident happened and then they find out that Owen had passed. In retrospective, even though it was maybe in hindsight not a good thing to keep the show going, it was a good idea to keep the show going only because it got people's minds off of what happened. Now, one thing that I had heard that was awkward and kind of difficult was when the accident happened and, they brought out a gurney and put Owen on the gurney and they're wheeling him backstage and you got people waiting to go out for the next match or whatever, people backstage and they see Owen being wheeled away on a gurney. It's like, how do you mentally...
Yeah, you can't unsee that.
Well, yeah, you can't unsee that, but how do you mentally focus on your match and, go on the show when something like that happens? But it seems to be a thing regularly where whatever happens, they keep the show going because it's the natural thing to do.
If you stop the show, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, people are going to still think about what happened.
Yes.
They're going to be scarred for life because of what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you've stopped the show or you had the show go on.
No.
So it all depends on the athletes in the ring. So the thing is, yeah, everyone knew Owen. Everyone knew what was going on. Jeff Jarrett was in a huge panic.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going on until the end of the night where JR made the announcement.
Yeah.
And, it's just a very sad thing to even think about because what would happen the next day? I had no idea until, actually, we'll get into that right now. So, I'll tell you where I was when this all happened. That's the cliche. Where were you when so-and-so passed?
I think I was at home with my mom and dad. I don't remember if we were watching the show or not. Or we were doing something else. I honestly can't remember full details about that. You gotta realize this is fucking 20 years ago.
I know. And keep forgetting you're younger than me. Yeah, you were
Only
10.
by 5 years.
Well, you were 10 as well.
Sure.
So, no, I woke up the next morning. My computer, it wasn't my computer at the time. The family computer was in my room for some reason. And I could hear my dad go, hey, someone, wrestler passed away last night. And I'm trying to think about who it could have been. And then my dad said Owen Hart, and I'm thinking that's crazy. That can't happen. So I guess as soon as I got in my chair, there it is. So I get to school, and basically the majority of students were wrestling fans. So they had the black arm band on, and they'd have Owen Hart on their knuckles. For some reason, I did the insensitive thing in the beginning of the day and put Steve Austin. So I'll always be ashamed of that. I can't undo that.
Yeah.
But I eventually smartened my ass up. And then of course going home to watch what happened.
Yeah.
The tribute show. And you could see how the main roster just, lose it. Much like, the Eddie Guerrero tribute.
Yeah.
You got to see a new aspect of different wrestlers. You had Triple H or Paul Levesque just break down, and The Rock coming out as character. I think The Rock and Stone Cold stayed in character. The Rock basically got up on the top rope and said, and everyone loved you, The Rock loved you, and then Steve Austin came on at the end and, did the beer toast. So, I almost got emotional there. But, yeah, that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Everyone that knew Owen definitely cared about him.
We've said it before and gonna say it again. Doesn't matter who's in a rivalry with each other, who's in a storyline with each other, who doesn't like somebody, who just gets on the bad side, and whatever. Bottom line is they're a family. They're a tight-knit family. It doesn't matter if it's Alexa Bliss against Sasha Banks, if it's Batista against Triple H, if it's Rock against Cena, if it's Undertaker against JBL, if it's Rey Mysterio against Eddie Guerrero, whatever. They're a family and they'll always be a family.
Yeah.
Like, all these superstars are around each other a hell of a lot more than they're around their own family. And that's why they become tight-knit like a family. And when you lose one of your family members, you're gonna be devastated. And that just goes to show you how much of an effect Owen had on everyone he was around. And he, I'm sure, ribbed a lot of people, pulled practical jokes and pranks on lots of people, and, would make everybody laugh and, have good conversations and all this other stuff. And Owen just seemed like an amazing guy. And I'm sure he was a hell of a family man, too.
I watch a match that speaks to Owen's personality. The match had with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
On Raw, where Shawn Michaels passed out. And I'm pretty sure that was a work.
Yeah.
And Owen, of course, character for like 1 minute, and then just decided to be the character again. And, that just goes to show you very little wrestlers do that.
Yeah.
They care about their opponents like that. But I'm just trying to figure out more matches. Well, okay, you want to have a match for tag team match, which was Owen Hart when he was with Coco and High Energy versus the Head Shrinkers.
Yeah.
Survivor Series. Unfortunately, High Energy never had the tag team championships.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a good match otherwise. I didn't really watch too much of his Stampede matches or
Right.
his matches in Japan, but all in all, I think that, yeah, he was still a pretty good wrestler. Obviously, you have his match with Stone Cold Steve Austin for the Intercontinental title, and the infamous, well, Steve Austin having his neck broken with the power driver.
Yeah.
Now, according to Brett, Owen didn't reach out to Steve. Well, it's here nor there, but
Yeah.
it was an accident, you know, and that kind of, it's the way it is. Now, if the Attitude Era, because Owen passed away in the midst of the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
there's a rumor, I'm not sure where I heard it, but if Triple H wasn't the game by that time, then they were going to give that gimmick to Owen Hart.
It would have been interesting. I think Owen would have done a good job with it. It would have been interesting to see where it went and what he did with the character, if you will. And, I mean, Triple H has done a hell of a job with that character, if you will. But give that to Owen would have been interesting. I think he could have pulled it off. I don't know exactly what WWE had in mind, if and when potentially they were going to give Owen this gimmick of the game, so.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure how that was going to go. But, you know, it's there. I think there's a lot of, I mean, there's a video that I watched, and they were answering questions, and one of them was, do you think if Owen was still alive, he'd be WWE champion? And this person said no. I disagree with that, because there would have been a way, I'm sure.
I think so.
You know, you had The Rock, you had Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You could have had possible matches with any of those guys with Owen, and that's kind of again, it's an unfortunate circumstance, and it pisses me off to this day. But you know, nonetheless, that's just the way it is. You know?
Yeah. Is it unfortunate that it happened? Yes. Could it have been prevented? Absolutely. Was it? No, sadly. But at least we have all these fond memories of Owen and all his matches and all the stuff that he did, and just reminiscing about how good he was in the ring and all this other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of too bad. I mean, well, it is too bad, but I mean, look, here's the thing. And I've said this a lot during this video, but the fact is, Owen Hart deserved a lot more. And if it weren't for this goddamn accident, there would have been Owen Hart being a WWE champion. Or hell, even if it was still WWF at the time, WWF champion.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy that worked his ass off to get to where he needed to be. He was the tag team champions, Intercontinental champion, and he could have been WWE champion. But for some reason, you had to have somebody say, you know what, this rope isn't good enough. Let's use a different one. So unbeknownst to Owen Hart, he could have been saved. This whole thing would have been avoidable.
Oh yeah, for sure it could have been.
And that's what pisses me off to this day, is what could have been. And to think how stupid people are. And maybe it was nobody's fault, who knows? But somebody switched something. Because I don't think for a damn minute that Owen Hart would have died or left to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more to say about that. And then there's rumors he's going to be a firefighter. He wanted to quit wrestling so he could go and be a firefighter. Now, if he would have did that, he would have squashed his dreams.
Yeah.
Because I think deep down he wanted to be WWF champion.
I think so. Yeah, in the case of Owen Hart, with the accident, it's a case of what could have been that never was.
Yeah, and that's the sad truth. Yeah, honestly, the only thing I can really think of is Owen Hart being a part of the New Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
You know, other than that, there's his matches with the British Bulldog for the European Championship. You know, but I think that Owen's legacy is always going to be a fun-loving guy. You know, he definitely could go in the ring. He was very athletic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, we talked about the guy from the Lost Tapes episode. You know, he definitely, you would see that, and you would see Owen Hart do exactly that.
Oh,
If
yeah.
this guy actually got in, he probably would say, oh, that was Owen Hart. He's copying
Tom McGee.
Tom McGee. So, I mean, that's just one of the possibilities. But it's kind of the way it is. And there's really not too much else I have to say about that.
If the accident didn't happen and Owen was still alive, and who knows how much longer he would have wrestled in WWE or whatever, at some point, do you think there could have been potential for Owen to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, there should be by now.
Yeah.
Because his widow is still fucking bitter about this whole thing. And even Brett said that she has to let it go now. It happened.
It's been fucking 20 years. Let it go. Jesus, how long can you hold a goddamn grudge for?
And we have tape, we have the DVD, and that's great. But his kids need to see what their dad was made of,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
you know? And I think that is, well, that goes without saying, because, you know, they're getting robbed by that, you know? And there's still talk about Owen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I kind of feel like there needs to be more. I mean, yeah, Stu Hart was inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I sincerely think that Owen has to have a place. Hell, do it next year. You know, you just inducted the Hart Foundation this year.
Yeah.
Still got a lot of people to induct, you know. Owen Hart and Davey Boy are one of them. But anyways, yeah, do you have anything else to say?
Owen was a one-of-a-kind performer. He could do it all. He was athletic. He could throw a drop kick like nobody's business. He did a lot of moves that were similar to Brett's, but he also had his own style and his own technique and his own way of delivering things. And even like his mic skills were amazing. He was a fantastic talker. And there's always gonna be that moniker, if you will, for Bret Hart, Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. You could easily throw Owen in that category too, because he too was best there is, best there was, and best there ever will.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I just popped into my head, one of the biggest feuds of Owen's career was in the later part with Triple H.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about how Paul Levesque cut that thoughtful video promo, I don't know what you call it, for the Owen Hart tribute show. But it's true. I mean, those two guys had some of the best matches,
Oh yeah, they had some really good matches.
for the Intercontinental Championship, for the European Championship. These guys definitely put on great matches, and you had even Owen Hart joining Nation of Domination for some reason. And yeah, it was just great. The Lion's Den match with Ben Shamrock there. That was a really good match.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Owen definitely would strive in today's business, although
I think so.
he'd be in his 50s now. I think he would definitely, even earlier than that, enjoy being in the business. Well, except for now with this whole 24/7 wild card bullshit. But he would definitely have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say what it would be like in the future now if he was still alive. Like, there's really no telling what he would do in the business,
Yeah, for sure.
is. So, hell, even have a match with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all I pretty much have to say. I don't know too much. I don't know what else we could talk about.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot. Talked about a lot.
It's definitely Owen Hart was one of the best. The Black Heart, he was the Rocket. He wasn't a Nugget. We still think about you every day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. One day, let's think about having Owen Hart in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, that being said, for me, Matt, this is Killer Kyle. And next week, we're going to talk about Championship Wrestling 1977, I believe, November. I'll have to check the date.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I have about those is I love reviewing them, but I wish the guy that has these videos would put the matches down.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways. And then we'll go from there, because I'm not sure when the next pay-per-view is.
Well, 2 weeks from tonight in Saudi Arabia, they're gonna have Super Showdown.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we might talk about that. But anyways.
Tomorrow night is the
Yeah.
All
right.
Elite Wrestling's
All
first
Wrestling.
show, pay-per-view, if you will. Double or Nothing.
That's
Check it
gonna be
out.
awesome. You gotta check that out. It's gonna be great. We'll maybe do a review. But anyways, so for me and Matt, Killer Kyle, and of course Owen Hart. And we will see you next week. Deuces.
Owen, may you rest in peace.